First Take is
looking forward to lacing them up one more time.
The pursuit of history comes down to one final game. Curry! Oh my goodness! Curry does it! 400 three-pointers in a season. A 50-point game in his farewell. Has 53! Unbelievable stuff tonight. With the jumper. Oh my! This is like old times now. It's official, number 73. The greatest regular season in NBA history.
Thank y'all fans for everything that y'all do for us. Now let's go get this championship.
You can't write something better than this. What can I say? Mamba out.
What an incredible night in the NBA. It was unbelievable. Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, Molly Karam here with you. This is First Take. Thanks so much for being with us, and we're gonna have a fun show here.
I would say. So we're about to talk about a Rams blockbuster trade, and I was thinking, Stephen A., what if the Rams had announced this trade at like 6 o'clock last night, L.A. time, ahead of the Kobe game? Wonder what would have happened to the interest level.
Probably nothing would have changed.
Nothing would have changed.
The interest level would have been exactly where it needs to be.
Trust me, because I once upon a time covered the L.A. Rams when they were interested in L.A., so it would have been interesting.
Yeah, according to Michael Silver, actually, Jeff Fisher put it off because he said it's an L.A. thing, it's Kobe's night. So
it was, and that was a good call.
Yeah, that he held off because of that. All right, so we're going to get into that 60-point performance. We're going to get into those Warriors and so much more. But first, we're going to begin with the huge news in the NFL. The Titans have traded the #1 overall pick in this year's draft to the Rams for a whole lot of draft picks. The Titans will receive the Rams' first round, 2 second-round, and third-round picks in 2016, and a first and third-round pick in 2017. Now, you may remember another trade involving the Rams from 2012. They traded the #2 overall pick to the Redskins for a first and second-round pick in 2012 and first-round picks in 2013 and 2014. So the Redskins eventually drafted Robert Griffin III with that second overall pick. Skip, did the Rams give up too much to get this #1 overall pick?
Want to know the truth, Stephen A.? I have no idea, because I'll be the first to admit, I didn't watch Carson Wentz play one snap of college football because he was at North Dakota State. So I didn't watch North Dakota State versus North Dakota or South Dakota State or Western or Southern Illinois or even the championship game against Jacksonville State. I just didn't watch. And that's why I would say right here, right now, the Rams gave up insanely too much for the right to draft a quarterback from North Dakota State. Again, by all accounts, Carson Wentz is the greatest kid who ever came down the pike. But I saw a little of this with Mariota last year with the Titans. Speaking of the Titans, I thought in part they were drafting the great kid instead of the great quarterback. And again, Carson Wentz wowed everybody, including my Dallas Cowboys staff that coached him at the Senior Bowl. He looked sensational. His workouts have been off the charts, sensational. But I don't know how you know for sure enough to give up that load of draft picks, to bet or mortgage your entire future on Carson Wentz because he's going to be such a great face of your franchise. Obviously, this team, as it returned from St. Louis to L.A., wanted to make a huge splash. Remember that Adam Schefter reported, we're going back to this right before the Super Bowl, as I recall, that the Rams were interested in Peyton Manning if, in fact, he wanted to play one more year. So they wanted to make that big splash, that Hollywood-style movie premiere like Star Wars, Grauman Chinese theater premiere with some big name. And so they've gone all the way to the top of the draft with a guy from North Dakota State because it will bring intrigue to the Rams. How great will he be? Well, again, I know there have been past quarterbacks. I know Terry Bradshaw was found at Louisiana Tech. I know that Phil Simms came from Morehead State. I know that Joe Flacco came from Delaware. I get that. But it's high risk. It's tough enough to pick a quarterback and get it right anyway. But in this case, I don't know how you really know. And to bet the ranch, to bet your whole future in L.A. on Carson Wentz, I just find that preposterous. That's just me.
Well, that's exactly why I said that the momentum in terms of what L.A. was about and what they would have been interested in would have stayed just the way that it was last night, because it's not about the Rams having the #1 overall pick. It's about what are you going to do with it. Carson Wentz out of North Dakota State, like you said, you haven't watched it. You damn sure know I haven't watched him. Jared Goff at California. This is the same guy that threw 5 interceptions against, I think it was against Utah, if I remember correctly. Not to mention the fact that he suffered 4 straight losses and 5 losses over a 6-game span. In college football, that's a very, very big deal. So when you look at it from that perspective and you go down the list of potential top-notch quarterbacks, you've got some dude who is an unknown coming out of North Dakota State. You've got Jared Goff, who gives you cause to pause, even though he threw 43 touchdowns, just 13 interceptions, and passed for over 4,700 yards. You've got this guy, Paxton Lynch, out of Memphis. You got Connor Cook out of Michigan State, none of whom are going to be the #1 overall pick. It's going to come down to either Wentz or Goff. And when you look at it from that perspective, what is there to get excited about? As a matter of fact, if I sit here and I appear a bit perturbed and a bit disgusted, it's because I believe that this move clearly buys Jeff Fisher a couple of more years. This is a man that's coached in the National Football League for 21 years, 15 years out of 21. He has been on the outside of the postseason looking in, yet he still gets literally about $7 million a year, up to $500,000 less than Bill Belichick, who's won 4 Super Bowl titles as a head coach, who's been to 5 consecutive AFC Championship games, and this dude is in the same ballpark monetarily as him, with job security and contract extensions coming out of the wazoo. That's the way I look at this. I'm not really that excited about this for the city of Los Angeles, A, because you don't know what you're getting with the #1 overall pick. You just know in all likelihood your quarterback is not going to be Nick Foles, and B, you've got a coach in Jeff Fisher who's been around for over 2 decades with very, very, very little to show for it, other than the year that the late Steve McNair, God rest his soul, took his Tennessee Titans to a Super Bowl berth, Super Bowl appearance. Yep. But that's about it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, again, it's exciting to have the #1 overall pick for the NFL draft, but it would be significantly and exponentially more exciting if you knew exactly what to do with it in terms of it being a surefire, can't miss #1 overall pick for a franchise caliber quarterback that you absolutely positively knew would lead your franchise for the next decade at least. Last time I checked, that's a huge question mark for the for the Los Angeles Rams, or anybody else for that matter, when it comes to a quarterback. So to me, I don't know if there's a reason to be too excited. Yep,
I'm with you. I agree with your point about Jeff Fisher. Now, just for the record, Adam Schefter and others are reporting it's definitely Carson Wentz who will be taken with the #1 overall. Now, again, I'm glad you brought up Jared Goff. I actually got to watch a whole lot of Jared Goff, and as you recall, going into the year, I thought he could be special. Then the more I watched, the less I thought he could be special, especially after the 5 interceptions against Utah. But I am surer about Jared Goff than I am about Carson Wentz. And that doesn't mean that Carson Wentz can't be great. I just don't know enough, and I don't know how the Rams know enough to know, because the quality competition is so, I was going to say mediocre, but you can't even give it mediocre. And I'm not trying to shame these small schools. They're just small schools, and it's smaller caliber football. And I don't know how you could bet so much on somebody from North Dakota State when it's not remember when we went back and forth about Andrew Luck versus RG3. If this were Andrew Luck, clearly I'm not the biggest Luck fan, but if it were Andrew Luck, you wouldn't hear a peep out of me today. I would just say, okay, I got it, because I know he's going to be pretty good. I don't know if he's going to be all-time great. I don't know if he's Andrew Luck, first ballot Hall of Famer. But still, if you told me it's Andrew Luck, I'm good with this first overall pick. But now back to RG3. This trade, obviously, as Molly pointed out to start off with, is the reverse of the RG3, because you now have, in that trade, it was the Redskins giving the Rams the big draft haul. It was at 3 firsts and a second, which seemed outrageous, but I was good with it because I thought Robert would be a little better than Andrew Luck. And by the way, he was the Offensive Rookie of the Year as he took his team to the division title, the NFC East title, as a rookie. Then he got hurt, and we know the rest of the sad, long story. But I'm wondering if this could bode well for Robert now in Cleveland, because in Cleveland they have the #2 pick, and I assume they are left holding the bag because everybody assumed they would get Carson Wentz, right?
Yep.
And now, I don't know, after all the reports about how small Jared Goff's hands were, could he handle cold weather? You know, maybe they'll shy away from taking a quarterback at #2. Maybe they'll take Joey Bosa or Jalen Ramsey, whoever it is, maybe the best defender available. And maybe that would mean that next year RG3 would be unopposed by a rookie high-pick quarterback. Maybe it won't be a one-year wonder thing for RG3 or a disaster thing for RG3 in Cleveland. So I like this maybe for RG3.
I think Stephen A. lost our sound here, Skip, but one thing I want to add, I'm just following along on Twitter. Oh, sorry, Stephen A. But, well, yeah. Can you hear him, Skip?
Skip was saying for the last minute. I hear you now, though.
One thing I just want to add before you jump in here, Stephen A., is now some people are reporting also that they think Goff is still heavily in the mix.
Are they?
So, like, it's not a done deal.
All right. Well, then that'd be a whole new plot twist.
It doesn't change anything for the Cleveland Browns if Goff was the guy that they were going to go with. It does change everything for them. It does change everything for them if it was Carson Wentz, because obviously the L.A. Rams are going to grab him, and who knows what Hugh Jackson is going to do from that point moving forward, along with Deeper Destin, Sashi Brown.
Okay, well, I would have less problem with the Rams taking Jared Goff. He's a more proven commodity to me, and I couldn't condemn that one. The other one is just so iffy, such a long shot because it's such an X factor. I would, but if you're saying there's still a possibility, then
nothing's a done deal quite yet.
Okay.
I mean, we know the Rams know who they're taking.
Let's also keep in mind that the Rams have a history of drafting the #1 overall pick in Sam Bradford at the quarterback spot. Their track record is not the greatest.
No, I warned them about that. I'm on record. I was sat right here and I said, nope, bad idea. Too fragile, too breakable, won't ever live up. And he got, remember, and this is the pre-quarterback wage scale, he got $50 million guaranteed dollars, did Sam Bradford.
Incredible.
Good luck with that.
Right? So certainly not a dull night in L.A. and now not a dull morning either. But we're going to go back to last night. Stephen A. was there. Kobe Bryant just putting on a show. It was unbelievable. He put up 60 in his finale. We're going to get into that, how surprising it was and where he ranks amongst the all-time Lakers greats. That's coming up next on First Take. We're just getting started. Stay here. Mamba out. About last night, Kobe Bryant played his final NBA game last night, and boy, did he make it memorable. Kobe scored 60 points on 50 shots. Kobe capped a career that included a league MVP, 5 championships, and 18 All-Star game appearances. Let's take a listen to Kobe after the game.
I can't believe this happened. You know, like I can't even. This is crazy to me, man. It's crazy to me. It's crazy, and I can. What? I mean, there's no way I could possibly imagine this happening. And there were a lot of points there where I started getting emotional. Okay, I'm putting on my jersey. I'm saying, okay, this is the last time we're going to put on a jersey. Dun, 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 right? You know what I mean? And then this is the last time I run out of tunnel. Dun, dun, dun. You know, and like when those moments happen, you catch yourself and you start getting really emotional. And then I say, okay, you got to block that out because none of that makes a difference whatsoever. You've come out here and completely lay an egg. The reason I can stand here in front of you guys and feel extremely comfortable with my decision is because I gave my soul to this game, man. There's nothing more I could give. For all, you're going to regret it. You're absolutely going to regret it. Well, I mean, the perfect ending would have been a championship. You know, that's perfect ending to me. You know, but you know, tonight was, you know, trying to go out, playing hard, and try to put on a show as much as I possibly could. And it felt good to be able to do that one last time.
Stephen A., Mamba Day, so special. I watched all the pregame, postgame coverage. You were hyping the crowd there in L.A. Live. That was great. But then on top of that, the cherry on top, Kobe balls out and puts up 60 points. I don't know if any of us expected that type of vintage Kobe performance. How surprised were you?
I was shocked. I mean, we sat on these airwaves yesterday. Skip was talking about a 40-point explosion. I certainly didn't believe that. My mindset was 20-25. The Lakers stink. They'll find a way to lose unless Utah had absolutely nothing to play for because Houston handled their business against Sacramento beforehand, which they did. So as a result, the likelihood of Kobe doing a little something extra and the Lakers winning definitely elevated once Utah didn't have anything to play for. Watching the first half, you know, he missed his first 5 shots, then he got it going. I thought they were a bit lax. I didn't think that they were playing the kind of tenacious defense Quinn Snyder has had them playing all year long. But nevertheless, I just said to myself, hey, maybe they can amp it. You know, maybe they might choose to amp it up. Who knows? It's just so hot.